I burn them. My mother said those words calmly, almost casually, like she was talking about old grocery receipts instead of something that had just shattered 13 years of my life. And standing there, holding a yellow envelope in shaking hands, I suddenly couldn't breathe, because inside that envelope was a letter from my dead father. A letter I should have received 13 years ago. My name is Ethan Walker. I was 27 years old, and for 13 years, I believed my father died without leaving anything behind. No messages, no final words, no goodbye, nothing. That's what my parents told me. That's what my mother repeated over and over while I was growing up. Your father loved you, she'd say softly, but he died too suddenly. No notes, no letters, no final wishes, just grief. And honestly, I believed her. Why wouldn't I? I was 14 when my father died, too young to question adults, too broken to think clearly. The car accident happened on a Thursday. I still remember every detail. Rain outside, hospital smell, my mother crying into tissues, and one sentence destroying everything. We're sorry. Asterisk, we couldn't save him. Asterisk, after that, life changed quickly. Too quickly. My mother became stricter, colder, more controlling. At first, I thought grief caused it. Then years passed, and somehow our entire house started feeling smaller. Not physically, emotionally. Every decision required permission. Every dream needed approval. Every future already had expectations attached, especially from my stepfather. Yes, my mother remarried only 18 months after Dad died. David Collins. Polite smile, perfect suits, perfect church image. Everyone loved him, but something always felt strange around him. Not obvious things, small things. He constantly criticized my goals. You need practical jobs. Stop wasting time with writing. Your father would have wanted stability. That last sentence always bothered me, because somehow David constantly knew what my father supposedly wanted, despite knowing him less than a year. Still, I ignored it until last month. My mother slipped while walking downstairs. Nothing serious, minor ankle injury. So, naturally, I helped around the house for a few days, cleaning, organizing, moving things. Then, on Tuesday afternoon, I went into my parents' bedroom searching for spare blankets and accidentally knocked over an old storage container beneath the bed. Paper spilled everywhere. Photos, receipts, old documents. Then suddenly, one yellow envelope slid across the floor. My stomach tightened instantly, because handwriting covered the front. Handwriting I recognized immediately. Dad's handwriting. I froze, actually froze, because I hadn't seen it in 13 years. Not once. Shaking hands, curved letters, the way he wrote my name. Ethan. Just Ethan. No last name. No date. Only for Ethan when he's ready. Silence. Pure silence. Because suddenly the room around me disappeared. I opened it carefully. Inside sat one folded letter. Only one page. Buddy. Instant tears hit instantly. Because nobody called me Buddy except Dad. Nobody. If you're reading this, asterisk, something happened before I could tell you these things myself. Asterisk, I stopped breathing, because suddenly everything felt wrong. Very wrong. No matter what anyone says. Asterisk, I never stopped loving you. Asterisk, and no matter what happens. Asterisk, please remember your dreams matter. Asterisk, dreams, writing, stories, creativity, everything David spent years mocking, everything Mom constantly discouraged. My chest tightened painfully because suddenly one question appeared inside my head. If Dad wrote this, where was it all these years? I looked back toward the box, heart racing, and slowly lifted the lid. Then everything inside me stopped, because sitting underneath old photos were 24 more yellow envelopes, 25 total, 25 letters, 25 letters from my dead father, 25 letters I never received, 25 moments stolen from me. And suddenly, I heard footsteps behind me, my mother standing in the doorway, completely pale, actually pale. She stared at the letters, then at me, then back at the letters. Silence. Long, horrible silence. Then quietly, almost whispering, she said, "I burned them." I stared. What? Her eyes filled immediately. I thought I burned them all. Silence. Because suddenly, my entire childhood shifted sideways. And honestly, I realized something terrifying. My mother wasn't shocked I found Dad's letters. She was shocked I found surviving ones. Because the first letter revealed something about my father, and the remaining 24 would destroy everything my parents spent 13 years hiding. I stared at my mother, actually stared, because honestly, my brain refused processing what she just said. I thought I burned them all. Burned. Not hid. Not forgot. Not misplaced. Burned. 25 letters. 25 pieces of my father. 25 moments I should have lived. Gone. Or, at least, she thought they were gone. My hands shook violently. Why? My voice barely worked. Why? My mother sat slowly on the edge of the bed. For several seconds, she said nothing. And suddenly, I realized something terrifying. She wasn't searching for excuses. She was searching for lies. Because manipulative people never look for truth first. They look for stories. I was grieving, she whispered. No. No, no, no. Because grief explains mistakes. Grief explains confusion. Grief explains forgetting birthdays. Grief doesn't explain burning 25 letters written by a dying father to his son. Then David appeared in the doorway, my stepfather. And instantly, the room changed. Because suddenly, Mom looked nervous, actually nervous, like someone caught doing something dangerous. David stared at the letters, then at me. And honestly, for 1 second, I saw it. Fear. Real fear. Then it disappeared immediately. What happened? He asked calmly. Mom answered too quickly. Nothing. Nothing. Funny word. Because suddenly, everything felt like something. I looked down at the first letter again, then continued reading. Buddy, asterisk, I know you'll probably be angry reading this someday. Asterisk, angry? I frowned. Why would I be angry? Then, asterisk, especially if people make choices for you after I'm gone. Asterisk, silence. Because suddenly, my stomach tightened. Asterisk, I need you remembering something. Asterisk, no matter what happens. Asterisk, never let people decide your life because they're afraid. Asterisk, afraid. My chest tightened because suddenly Dad's words felt strange. Not emotional strange. Warning strange. Then I kept reading. And if David ever becomes part of your life. Everything stopped. Actually stopped. I stared, blinking, reading again. No, no way. David? How? Dad died 13 years ago. David entered our lives afterward. Didn't he? I reread it. 3 times, 4 times, 5. Same thing. If David ever becomes part of your life. My breathing slowed instantly because suddenly something impossible appeared. Dad knew David before he died. No, 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 no. That wasn't possible. Right? I looked up slowly, toward David, toward Mom. And honestly, I think they knew immediately, because suddenly both faces changed. Mom looked pale. David stopped breathing. For one horrible second, nobody moved. Then David smiled. Small smile. Fake smile. Your father was confused near the end. Confused. That sentence hit me immediately because suddenly I remembered something. Growing up, every time I asked about Dad, stories changed slightly. Tiny changes. Tiny details. Your father struggled emotionally. Your father worried too much. Your father wasn't thinking clearly. Little things. Small enough avoiding attention. Large enough reshaping memories slowly. God. Then I looked back inside the box and suddenly saw dates, written carefully. Age 15, age 16, age 18, age 21, graduation, marriage, first heartbreak, career advice, future children. Dad wrote letters for every important moment I never shared with him. 25 moments, 25 years, stolen. And suddenly, I understood something worse. They didn't hide letters. They hid him. Because the second letter revealed my father wasn't killed by bad luck, and David wasn't a stranger. I didn't sleep that night. Honestly, how could I? For 13 years, I believed grief stole my father. Then suddenly, 2 letters completely changed reality. Because now I knew 2 things. Dad knew David, and Dad expected something after his death. Neither of those made sense. Not even a little. Around 2:37 a.m., I sat inside my apartment staring at the remaining envelopes spread across the kitchen table. 23 letters left. 23 pieces of my father. 23 pieces of truth. My hands hovered over one labeled, age 18, then slowly opened it. Buddy, if you're reading this at 18, I'm hoping you're finally learning something important. Tears immediately filled my eyes again, because reading Dad's words felt like hearing his voice. People aren't always what they pretend becoming, especially around money. Money. My chest tightened instantly. Then, if David stayed around after I died, please talk to Martin Hayes immediately. Everything stopped. Actually stopped. Because now Martin's name appeared again. Martin, Dad's attorney. The same person handling Dad's estate years ago. The same man I barely remembered. No. This wasn't coincidence. Then I saw something folded inside the envelope. A small photograph. I pulled it out slowly, and instantly my stomach dropped, because standing inside the picture was Dad. Standing beside him, David. Smiling, shaking hands. Standing outside what looked like a business office. Date printed underneath. 15 years ago. Silence. Pure silence. Because suddenly, my entire childhood shifted sideways. David wasn't a stranger entering our lives later. He knew Dad before Dad died. Years before. I stared at the picture for almost 30 seconds. Then noticed writing on the back. Dad's handwriting. Trust people carefully. Especially family. No. Because suddenly I realized something horrifying. Dad didn't randomly mention David. He warned me. Then suddenly my phone rang. Martin Hayes. At 2:43 a.m. Who calls at 2:43 a.m.? I answered immediately. And Martin, long silence. Then, Ethan. His voice sounded strange, very strange, like someone terrified. How many letters have you opened? My heartbeat accelerated instantly. 2. Silence. Long silence. Then, oh God. Same words. Again. Listen carefully. He whispered, do not confront your mother. Do not confront David. Do not tell them what you found. My stomach dropped instantly. What are you talking about? Then Martin said something destroying every remaining normal thought inside my head. Your father didn't die believing his death was an accident. Everything stopped. Absolutely everything. Because the next letter revealed Dad spent 6 months secretly investigating someone before he died. I drove to Martin's office before sunrise. Cold morning. Empty roads. Shaking hands. Honestly, part of me hoped Martin would tell me everything was misunderstanding, some paperwork mistake, some bizarre coincidence. Instead, the second I walked into his office, he locked the door, closed the blinds, and pulled out a black file. Dad's name sat across the front. Robert Walker, personal investigation. My stomach immediately dropped because nobody labels something personal investigation unless something terrible already happened. Martin sat down quietly. Your father came here 8 months before he died. Silence. He believed someone was stealing money. Money, again. Not random money. Estate money. Insurance money. Business accounts. Then Martin slid photographs across the table. Dad entering buildings, meeting investigators, writing notes, tracking transfers. Then one specific photo stopped me breathing. David and Mom, together, holding hands. Timestamp, 11 months before Dad's death. No. Because suddenly, I realized something so ugly my brain rejected it immediately. Mom and David knew each other before Dad died. Not after, before. Which meant for 13 years, their entire love story was a lie. And suddenly, I understood why Dad wrote letters. He wasn't preparing for death. He was preparing for truth. But the final unopened letter carried 3 words that terrified Martin instantly. Martin placed one final envelope on the table. Different color, different handwriting, different label. Across the front, only if something happens to me. My chest tightened immediately because suddenly I knew this mattered a lot. I opened it slowly. Inside, 1 letter. 1 key, 1 flash drive. Then I started reading. Buddy, if you're reading this, I was right. No. There are things hidden inside my office safe. Things I couldn't prove publicly. If David and your mother are together after my death, open it. Martin stared at me silently, then whispered, the safe still exists. 40 minutes later, we entered Dad's old office storage unit. Dust everywhere. Dark shelves. Boxes untouched for years. And in the back corner sat a small safe. I inserted the key. Click. Silence. Then slowly opened it. Inside sat financial records, affair evidence, emails, phone logs, hidden transfers, and one folder labeled Insurance Beneficiary Changes. My blood went cold because suddenly everything became horrifyingly clear. Mom and David weren't waiting for life after Dad. They were already planning it. But what investigators found in the beneficiary documents destroyed them completely 3 months later. Everything collapsed. Affair evidence surfaced. Financial fraud investigations opened. Hidden transfers got traced. Forged documents got reviewed. And honestly, the most terrifying thing wasn't discovering betrayal. It was discovering how long betrayal existed. 13 years. 13 years, I mourned a father while believing false stories. 13 years, I accepted a replacement. 13 years, I built memories around lies. Mom tried apologizing, eventually. David tried explaining. Funny how people suddenly love honesty after evidence appears. But honestly, by then, I wasn't angry anymore. I was tired, very tired. One evening, I opened the final letter, the very last one. No warnings, no investigations, no secrets. Just Dad. Buddy, life will break your heart sometimes. People will disappoint you. But never let someone else's lies decide who you become. And if you're reading this, I love you. Silence. Pure silence. Because suddenly, after 13 years, I finally got goodbye. Not from grief, not from memory, from him. Sometimes people don't steal money. Sometimes they steal time, truth, memories, relationships. And sometimes the deepest betrayal isn't losing someone you love. It's discovering they were taken from you long before they disappeared. If this story pulled you in, stay with Silent Revenge Stories, because sometimes the quietest truths destroy the loudest lies.